Hey, first up, actually.
Hi guys, how are you?
Can you say your names for the tape so we can distinguish your voices when we're writing it? Yeah.
Matt Miller. David Wilcox.
What's up?
Thank you so much. You're going to charge me.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. So,
That's cool.
who came up with this?
This was, this was an idea that was originally inspired by a series of books written by Gabrielle Pierce, and we departed from those stories, I think, fairly significantly, and I wanted to draw on a lot of the films, that inspired me, films from the 70s, Rosemary's Baby, The Shining, The Omen, things like that, and come up with a show for network television that I thought would be unlike anything we've seen on TV before.
Have you guys planned out the entire season and the tentpoles and where it's going to? How far?
Yeah, we have a rough sense of where it's going to go. Certainly with enough flexibility that we can sort of find things as we go along. But before we started the season, we spent quite a few weeks just talking broadly about where we wanted to go with the building, with the characters, and things like that before we dove into the specific episodes and started working on those. So we have an idea, we have a sense, we have some great moments that we want to build towards. But again, as you go through and as an audience responds to things, maybe those things can be a little bit flexible.
So what can you tell us about the evil building?
The Drake. The Drake is a central character of this show, and the Drake is sort of an endless puzzle box of mystery and revelations that we'll dig into over the course of the entire series. And without giving too much away, I'll just say it's an old building with an even older presence, and that will be something that we'll learn more about as the series progresses.
In addition to the books, were there any movies like maybe Rosemary's Baby that influenced you?
Very much. Rosemary's Baby, The Shining, The Omen, Jacob's Ladder. These were movies that were very big for me when I was growing up, and it's always been something that I thought, given the right treatment, could work very well in television. And I think people enjoy being scared. I know I do. And it's one of the only genres in television I think can actually sort of get a rise out of the audience, and it can be a lot of fun.
How scary can you go on ABC or network?
Well, we'll see.
I mean, but to that point, because the films that David was referencing are psychological horror, and they come from a different genre, as opposed to the sort of more violent, more in-your-face kind of slasher type film or TV show right now. So in terms of like network television's tolerance, if we're not getting incredibly gory or graphic with it, things can still be incredibly scary. Like I think in the pilot, the scarier moments are when she gets smashed in the elevator, or when she's changing a light bulb and there's a ghost behind. Nothing that would be a problem to be on television, but it gives you a kind of creepy moments like that.
Yeah, Matt's right. I mean, psychological horror is really kind of what our approach is, and there are ways that you can step into the shoes of a character and sort of see the world through their eyes, and that having that sort of subjective perspective, I think, in storytelling gives you a lot of room to kind of tell some very interesting stories and have some great scary moments.
But how do you keep them in the building without making them look stupid? Like, oh my God, this horrible stuff is happening, and it's happening in this building.
Well, that's a great question, and that's one of the challenges of writing the show, and it's also who's seeing the things that are these horrible things. Is it the audience that's aware? If the audience is too far ahead of your characters, then your characters start to feel stupid. But there is a certain amount of pleasure in being one step ahead, perhaps, of some of your characters, and sometimes Jane, who's the protagonist of the show, is the one that really will start scratching away at the building and the hidden mysteries and clues and supernatural elements of it. And she will very, very clearly think that the building has a possession to it and has a supernatural quality. The question is, if no one else sees those things, do they believe her?
And also, I mean, that question is a question that I think we're asking right from the beginning, and it's something that we kind of confront head on, because we certainly don't want our characters to look stupid, and we want them to make smart, intelligent decisions in the same way that our audience would react to things that they're seeing, and so we are very aware of that, and in fact, actually, it's sort of given us some very inspired directions to go in terms of our stories.
How involved were you guys in the casting process?
We were very involved, and the casting process is always, it's very chaotic and everything. It's amazing we have the cast that we have, because they're incredible, and I think that I can only see Terry and Vanessa and Rachel and Dave playing these characters now. We search very hard for the right people for these roles, and because I think especially the role of Gavin Duran is potentially iconic in that way, and having Terry fill those shoes is amazing, and then at the same time just having to write for Terry O'Quinn, that's an awesome responsibility, and so our game has to be top notch.
Are you a Lost fan then?
Very much so. Yeah, of course.
So what would tempt you? Like, everybody's being tempted in the show, so what would tempt you to give up everything or whatever?
Take your life away.
Money, sex. Yes, all the big vices. When we as writers, we tend to live out our vices and the excitement on the page, as opposed to in our personal lives. So maybe that would be one of the things I would switch around. I would like to move into the group.
Can I do one request?
Yeah.
Could you guys just give a shout out to 666parkavenue.org?
Sure. 666parkavenue.org. Watch it.
And do you guys plan on taking anything from Chuck and Fringe, like Easter egg type things, and putting them into 666 to try and grab those viewers?
I think that Fringe and Chuck, I think told stories very well, and they told stories in a very sort of satisfying way, and in a way that I think for the real fans of these shows, that there's a whole other level they can dig into, and of course that's something that we want to do as well.
Because those two shows were awesome and a phenomenon, and so I hope that this brings that the same length that those two shows did. So
yeah, let's hope. Thanks. I mean, those shows obviously they you're playing to as broad and as mass of an audience as you can, but then you'll always try and put in little treats for those people that are really playing at a very deep level with that show.
Well, last year we were here for the we didn't go to the Chuck panel, but we were in line when Terra Nova was right after the Chuck panel.
Yeah,
that thing was ridiculous, and hopefully this makes it, and next year it'll be just as
let's hope.
That'd be awesome.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
So much.